Hey everyone! So we're almost halfway through the month, and I don't know about you, but I've been really loving ArtFight this year. If you don't know or haven't heard, ArtFight is an art game where every year there are 2 different teams, and you attack the other team by drawing OCs belonging to people on the opposite team and uploading them to the site. It's a great way to practice drawing since it's essentially free gift art that you're giving to others and you're not under the obligation of commissions or art for videos that has to look a certain way. This year, the team is Fossils versus Crystals, and a fun fact about me is that I actually have a master's degree in biological anthropology, so I had to pick Team Fossils. I've been having a lot of fun trying different art styles and really taking time to just have fun with my art. I know the Rise of the Moon Book 3 trailer has been late, and part of that is because I'm so afraid of failure, in a sense, that it won't look the way I want it to when it all comes together. I felt that way about the Book 2 trailer as well as my animation for the New Moon finale, and so part of my ArtFight goal this year is just to be okay with things being a bit messy. I'm working on a mass attack for my players in The Longest Night, which is the prequel campaign to Rise of the Moon, and I think it's really helping me discover my PMV style, which is largely going to rely on airbrush and gradient shading, something I don't do very often, but is a lot quicker than how I normally do my art. I'll show progress shots from that once it's done in another video, if I remember to record the time-lapse in Clip Studio Paint, because admittedly, I'm pretty bad about remembering to turn that on. Fortunately, Procreate has an automatic recording function, which is what we're starting to watch now. First up is the redesign of Coral Star. I really did not like how I laid out her random splotches in her previous design, and I wanted to make them a bit more deliberate and also pick a better coral color scheme. As you can see, a lot has happened to her. She got this massive scar across her throat, and she's missing both an eye and a leg. I really wanted to include more disabilities in Rise of the Moon and realized we did not have any cats currently wearing a prosthetic limb. How this happened? Well, you're gonna have to wait for books 3 and 4 of Rise of the Moon to find out, but safe to say, knowing that the Lost are essentially Dark Forest sleeper agents, you can begin to imagine how this occurred. I really wanted to keep her spunky attitude in her reference, as her leader title is The Hopeful, but who's to say she's feeling that way about RiverClan's future in the current point of the campaign? Hopefully there's good things in store for Coral Star, and you're just gonna have to wait to find out. Next up is the redesign of Rattlestar. I've redesigned this guy like 3 times before this already, and I think I've really nailed it this time. I wanted him to be a lot easier to draw than my previous iterations, as he's a very prominent feature in the Book 3 trailer as well as other PMVs I plan to do involving Brightfire. So I went back to the drawing board when it came to the number of floating shapes he had. I ended up deciding to merge the imagery of a king cheetah and a diamondback rattlesnake, and I think it gives him this very regal but menacing air. I also overlaid a reddish color on top of his prior color scheme to then make it look more unified, and also to match Brightfire's newer, warmer tones in her updated design. Of course, I kept his iconic snake spine crown and the swirls on his shoulders and hips, since he has those in common with Brightfire. I also gave him the classic tiger star scar across his nose, as well as an additional necklace with sea glass beads that represent his family. The red one is for Sagefern, his mate, the gold one is for Brightfire, and the blue one is for Juniperberry. He may be starting a fascist regime, but you can't say he doesn't secretly love his family, even if he rarely gives any of them the praise and outward love they deserve. Next up is Pearl Spring. She's a character mentioned a few times throughout Rise of the Moon, but isn't seen too often. She's RiverClan's Stone Teller, and she is the Guardian class, meaning she has a special connection with other animals, and in this case it's other aquatic creatures. She is Coral Star's older cousin, and she is also disabled. She is partially deaf and selectively mute. Being able to speak and listen to all aquatic creatures can be very overwhelming for her, so there's a lot of times she is nonverbal and largely communicates through sign language. She also wears a hearing aid, which is a juvenile Florida fighting conch in her left ear. It amplifies sound. It's removable, and she doesn't like to get water in it, so she takes it out when she swims. She prefers land prey since she can talk to fish, but she and the fish understand sometimes life must take its course. Her special animal connection for her class in the TTRPG is to an American alligator that she can summon. And the best description that I've got for what that looks like is that it's like a JoJo stand, so do with that what you will. I gave her a lot of imagery relating to Aphrodite with the seafoam colors and the clamshell. I wanted her to be very beautiful. Alas, stone tellers are forbidden from taking mates, and she follows the code pretty religiously, so she's off the market. A shame for every cat out there in River Clan. Now, this one is not a redesign, it's more of a reference sheet refinement. This is for Silvershade, and for those who have seen the last 2 episodes of Rise of the Moon I released a few months ago, you know that her true name is Silverpelt, the first Star Clan cat and its arbiter. In my first Procreate sketchbook tour video I ever did, I showed the process of designing her. In that video, I said I did not want her to look super devious, and that was because at the time I was still masking her true nature from my players. Well, they know now, and you know now, so here's her devious and manipulative self in full form. Also, here you can see me struggle to get the pose to look right. You ever draw something once and go, oh man, how did I do that? That's me when I'm trying to reference and trace Blaze's sprite pose for her, but it just didn't end up working. It wasn't a fit. I went back to her old pose. Sometimes you don't need to fix what isn't broken, you know? I deliberately curved her ears inward so that when she's in her dark forest recolor, they look like devil horns. I also wanted her to have a very simple design that's easy to replicate. Since she's in both The Longest Night and Rise of the Moon as a main character, she might be in the most PMVs on my list total. I designed Stark Clan and Dark Forest forms for her, which she can swap between at will, and her mortal form. As for her tail, well, that's the most complicated part of her design, but honestly, I'm just gonna do some After Effects magic for it if I ever have to animate it. Finally, we have a character who is not a warrior cat. This is my royal girl Kyrie on Neopets Kalina. She is the mysterious queen of the Holy Kingdom of Talador, seated at the Holy See of Toladar as its oracle. The royal family of Talador is gifted with oracle sight, and every few generations someone is born with a power. I have been playing Neopets for a very long time, and they're all super important OCs to me. My Neopets have their very own complicated, almost Game of Thrones style lore, and that's probably best suited for another video, but the short of it is my royal girl Kachik, Gina D, is a rebel princess whose country was taken over by the Albanian Empire, and she and her people are currently seeking refuge in the Holy See. Lena is helping Gina, but whether she does so out of the goodness of her own heart remains to be seen. I plan to record the process of some of my attacks this year, so please look forward to those videos. I hope you enjoyed listening to me talk about my OCs, and I hope you have a great art fight. My art fight link is in the description below, and I will do my best to revenge people as much as I am possible, but I do work a full-time job, and I'm still trying to find the best way to keep up quality, but also attack as many people as I can. So, see you later, and stay creative.